The tension at Ibrox is no longer just a whisper, it's a roar. As Rangers continue to stumble under Russell Martin, the air around Govan has grown heavy with frustration, doubt, and one looming question. How much longer can this go on? The calls for change are getting louder, and with every dropped point, the pressure mounts not only on the manager but on the entire structure behind the scenes. And now, as if pouring fuel on a fire already threatening to boil over, the name Steven Gerrard is back on the lips of the support. It's not hard to see why. Russell Martin was brought in with the promise of fresh ideas and a more progressive style of play, but all of that now feels like empty PR chatter. The results have been brutal. Rangers, a club built on tradition, expectation, and the relentless pursuit of trophies, find themselves languishing in 10th place with no wins in their last 5 Premiership matches. That's not just a bad patch, that's a full-blown crisis. And with Celtic already 9 points clear, the mood has shifted from early season concern to open rebellion. The fans are no longer waiting quietly in hope. The Union Bears, one of the club's most prominent supporter groups, have moved from online frustration to organized action. Ahead of the Premier Sports Cup clash against Hibernian, they've announced plans for a full-scale protest outside Ibrox. They're not mincing words either. The message is clear. They want Russell Martin and CEO James Bisgrove out. Now, the planned protest is scheduled for 4:30 on Saturday afternoon, just over an hour before kickoff. But this isn't just a gathering of angry fans. It's a coordinated stand, one that could very well be the first of many if the club fails to respond. The group's statement was nothing short of scathing. They accused Martin of completely failing to live up to the standards expected at Rangers, branding his tenure an absolute failure, and calling for his immediate dismissal. As for Bisgrove, the criticism was equally severe. The Union Bears highlighted his role in appointing Martin, suggesting that his judgment, and perhaps even his commitment to the club's values, is now in serious question. They warned the board that if swift action isn't taken, the support will be forced to escalate their response. For a club that prides itself on unity and identity, this level of internal fracture is nothing short of alarming. But while the protests capture the emotion of the moment, the speculation swirling around who could take over if Martin is shown the door is what really has fans buzzing. And yes, one name sits firmly at the center of that conversation: Steven Gerrard. The man who brought Rangers back to the top of Scottish football in 2021 is once again being talked about as the potential savior. Gerrard's legacy in Glasgow is undeniable. He arrived in 2018 with the club still reeling from years of chaos and humiliation, and in just 3 seasons, he built a side that not only stopped Celtic's bid for 10 in a row, but did so with style, aggression, and a sense of belief that had long been missing at Ibrox. That title-winning campaign was more than just a triumph. It was a resurrection. And for many fans, it's still the standard by which all others are judged. His departure to Aston Villa was met with heartbreak and some frustration, but time has softened the edges of that move. Since then, Gerrard's managerial career has been something of a mixed bag. His stint at Villa showed flashes of promise before ending abruptly, and his short time in Saudi Arabia with Al Ettifaq didn't exactly reignite his trajectory. Earlier this year, Gerrard himself admitted he was enjoying time away from the game, speaking candidly about stepping back, playing golf, spending time with family, and just enjoying life without the relentless grind of football management. But that's exactly why his potential return is such a tantalizing prospect. For Gerrard, Rangers isn't just another job. It's the place where he built his reputation as a manager. It's where he forged bonds with fans, with players, and with the club's identity. That kind of emotional connection doesn't disappear, even after years away. And with the current state of affairs at Ibrox spiraling further into chaos, the idea of bringing back someone who understands the fabric of the club feels less like fantasy and more like a logical reset. Greg Stewart, one of Gerrard's former players during that title-winning season, has already gone public with his thoughts, and he didn't hold back. In his view, Gerrard returning is a no-brainer. He spoke passionately about what made Gerrard's team special, highlighting the discipline, the attacking threat, and the unmistakable identity that ran through every match. For Stewart, watching the current version of Rangers is painful, a feeling echoed by thousands of supporters across the globe. And that's the real issue here: identity. Under Martin, Rangers have looked lost, disjointed, passive. There's been no clear direction, No visible cohesion between the players, the staff, or even the decision-makers at the top. The disconnect is everywhere, from the tactics on the pitch to the statements coming out of the boardroom. The sense of alignment that existed during Gerrard's reign, that feeling of everyone pulling in the same direction, has evaporated. And when a club loses that, it doesn't just lose matches, it loses its soul. Now, let's be clear, there's no confirmation that Gerrard is poised to return. He's not publicly lobbying for the job, and the board hasn't made any official moves. But in football, especially in Glasgow, the rumors matter. The whispers become chants, and chants become demands. And right now, with Martin's position looking increasingly untenable, the appetite for change is growing by the day. If that change involves Gerrard, there are many who believe it can't come soon enough. Adding to the tension are recent comments from Barry Ferguson, a man who knows the weight of the Rangers badge better than most. Ferguson, who was briefly linked with the managerial post before Martin's appointment, has openly criticized the club's recent recruitment strategy. Speaking on the Go Football show, Ferguson revealed the names he would have gone after during the summer, players he believes could have made a real difference. He singled out Lawrence Shankland, the Heart striker who recently bagged a brace against Rangers at Ibrox. For Ferguson, missing out on Shankland was a clear misstep. He argued that the forward, available on a free, is a proven goalscorer who would have slotted in perfectly. Age, he insisted, shouldn't have been a concern. The goals speak for themselves. Ferguson also mentioned Josh Mulligan and Vax Laverne as potential targets, players he saw up close and believes are tailor-made for the Scottish game. He expressed frustration at what he called a stubbornness or even an ignorance when it comes to valuing Scottish talent. In his view, there are players within the SPFL who, while not flashy or expensive, could offer exactly what Rangers need: fight, intelligence, and the hunger to wear the shirt with pride. He even pointed to players like Alex Gogic of St. Mirren as examples of individuals who, despite not being household names, bring the kind of aggression and organization that's sorely missing right now. For Ferguson, it's not about chasing big names. It's about building a squad with character and the right mentality. And in that sense, it's hard not to feel like the club has strayed far from its roots. So here we are, 5 games into the season, no wins, and the storm clouds are gathering faster than anyone could have predicted. The protests are coming. The boardroom is under fire. The manager is clinging on by a thread. And floating above it all is the ghost of Steven Gerrard, still loved, still respected, and still, maybe, the man to lead Rangers out of the darkness once again. But as the Gerrard debate rages on, another layer to this complex mess begins to unfold. Because let's not forget, even if the board were to pull the trigger and show Russell Martin the door, questions remain about whether the club is actually prepared to make the right call next time. That's what's keeping fans up at night. It's not just about removing a manager. It's about restoring faith in a structure that, right now, feels broken from the top down. The decision to appoint Martin in the first place is one that continues to puzzle large sections of the support. Coming off inconsistent spells at both Swansea and Southampton, Martin wasn't exactly walking through the doors at Ibrox with a track record of success. His philosophy was praised in theory, possession-based, progressive football, but when translated onto the pitch in Scotland, it has been more toothless than tactical. The players don't seem to believe in it, the results don't justify it, and the support has outright rejected it. That disconnect has led to a toxic atmosphere that is now impossible to ignore. The boos are louder, the online criticism is relentless, and inside Ibrox, the tension is visible. It's not just that Rangers are losing, it's the manner of the defeats. They look uninspired, disorganized, at times uninterested. And when a club with this much tradition starts to play like that, it becomes more than just a football problem. It becomes a cultural one. And yet, the silence from the boardroom has only made things worse. There's been no real public backing of the manager, but also no signs of urgency to fix the growing mess. When Martin was recently asked whether he still has the support of the hierarchy, his answer was telling: "We'll see." Not exactly the rallying cry of a man feeling secure in his position. That kind of uncertainty spreads like wildfire in a club this size. Players feel it. Staff feel it. Fans feed off it. And before long, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Which brings us back to the idea of Gerrard. Not just because he's a fan favorite or a safe pair of hands, but because he represents a time when Rangers looked like Rangers again. There was identity, leadership, and direction. Yes, things ended abruptly, but for the first time in years, there was a foundation. And it's that foundation the supporters are craving more than ever now. They're not demanding miracles. They're demanding structure, pride, and fight. Gerrard brought all of that. And for a team currently lacking all three, the contrast could not be more painful. But even if Gerrard is the dream, the reality is far more complicated. Would he be interested? Is the timing right? Would he have control over transfers, something he reportedly clashed over during his previous tenure? There are more questions than answers. Yet the fact we're even having this conversation so early into a new season says everything about the scale of the crisis. It's also worth considering whether the players in the current squad are even good enough to deliver, regardless of who is on the touchline. That's the concern raised by Barry Ferguson, who hasn't just called out Martin's tactics, but the overall quality of the group. He believes the summer window was a missed opportunity to inject proper Scottish talent into the squad, players who understand the league, the pressure, and the expectations that come with playing for a club like Rangers. Ferguson mentioned names like Shankland, Mulligan, and Vax Laverne, players who wouldn't have broken the bank but could have made a real impact. He spoke with conviction about the need for hunger and leadership in the team, traits he feels are currently in short supply. He even referenced lesser-known players like Alex Gogic, someone who might not get headlines but brings the kind of steel and structure Rangers are crying out for in the middle of the park. His comments struck a chord with many supporters because it feels like the club has drifted too far from what made them successful in the past. There's been a tendency in recent years to look abroad, to chase players with flashy resumes but little understanding of what it means to play at Ibrox. That approach has yielded very little, and now, with things falling apart, fans are calling for a return to basics, Scottish grit, hard work, and a spine that can weather the storm. And let's be honest, the current squad doesn't inspire much confidence. There's no clear leader, no vocal presence dragging the team forward when heads drop. You look across the pitch and you see decent players, sure, but you don't see warriors. You don't see the type of men who understand that second place isn't just a disappointment at Rangers, it's a disgrace. That mentality, once embedded into the club's DNA, now feels like a distant memory. Reclaiming it is going to take more than a new manager. It'll take a complete cultural reset, which again brings us to the role of the board. Because appointing Russell Martin was not just a managerial mistake, it was a symbol of deeper issues. The disconnect between the boardroom and the support is at an all-time high. Decisions are being made without transparency, communication is minimal, and accountability seems non-existent. The fans feel left in the dark. And when that happens, you get protests. You get division. You get what we're seeing now, a club turning on itself. If the new ownership wants to stabilize this ship, they have to start acting like leaders. That means listening to the fans, acknowledging their frustrations, and making smart, bold decisions, not just safe ones. Whether that's bringing back Gerrard or going in a completely different direction, what matters is that the next move shows ambition, clarity, and most of all, respect for the badge. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Russell Martin has stirred the pot once again, and this time the ripples are being felt all the way from Glasgow to every pub and supporters club in Scotland. In a press conference that was meant to be routine, the Southampton boss let slip a remark about Rangers that has quickly snowballed into one of the week's most talked about footballing rumors. Martin, who has never been shy when it comes to voicing an opinion, dropped a line suggesting that the Ibrox side might not have the steel they once claimed, and the room froze before anyone could decide whether he was serious or not. What followed was a flurry of raised eyebrows, hurried scribbling from journalists, and a wave of speculation that refuses to die down. Was Martin taking a sly dig at the Gers? Was it frustration spilling over from his own team's battles down south? Or was it, as some believe, a calculated poke at a Scottish giant, designed to unsettle and draw attention? Whatever the motive, the remark has lit up conversations across social media, with Rangers fans quick to brand it disrespectful, while rivals have gleefully seized on the chance to fan the flames. Insiders claim the Rangers hierarchy are far from amused, and that Martin's words may even be brought up when the two sides inevitably cross paths in some capacity. Pundits, meanwhile, have been split. Some dismiss it as a harmless throwaway. Others warn that such comments can add unnecessary tension to an already fiery footballing landscape. In Scotland, where football loyalties cut deep, a single phrase can echo for weeks, and Martin's slip has certainly entered that territory. For now, it remains a rumor, a Berberinho that may fade as quickly as it erupted. But the timing and the tone cannot be ignored. Russell Martin, knowingly or not, has added another layer of drama to the endless theater that surrounds Rangers. And in a country where the game is more than just sport, every word counts. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.